What's going on, guys? So in 2018, the Jaguars had Super Bowl expectations, but what turned out to be was only a 5-11 team. So generally when teams get let down like that and have double-digit loss seasons, it's generally followed up by coaching staff changes, and that's exactly what happened. But I never really made any kind of video discussing the coaching staff changes just because it was kind of weird with what was going on with they were hiring offensive guys before they even had an offense coordinator and stuff like that. So really in this video I want to kind of go over what exactly happened when it comes to different coaches that we retained, who we hired on, and kind of the expectations for these guys. So let's get it. So the Jaguars kept the three top dogs, and that is Executive Vice President of Football Operations, big one, Tom Coughlin, the General Manager, Dave Caldwell, and Head Coach, Doug Marrone. And we hired a new offense coordinator, which was to be expected because we fired Nate Hackett mid-year, and we also kept defense coordinator Todd Wash. So we'll go ahead and go through some of the guys that they kept. Like I just said, they kept defense coordinator Todd Wash. I was more along the kind of lines of firing him just because the guy's scheme drives me nuts. You even have players speaking out about how they think that a lot of the offenses out there are kind of discovering how to beat their scheme, and the defense went downhill a lot this year. They regressed, I should say, a lot in 2018 as opposed to 2017 where they were like some kind of generational defense. So they kept him. Hopefully the guy can learn from his mistakes and maybe reinvent a kind of a different defense. Some other guys that they kept was special teams coach Joe DeCamillis. They also kept wide receiver coach Keenan McCardell, tight end coach Ron Middleton, linebackers coach Mark Collins, and quarterback coach Scott Milanovich. So all those guys are here to stay. Now, some of the new guys that they brought along were offensive coordinator John DeFilippo. Now, John DeFilippo, he's a young guy. He's only 40 years old. He's been in the league for a long time. Since 2007, the guy's only been a quarterback coach and an offensive coordinator. His two offensive coordinator stints were in 2015 when he was a Browns offensive coordinator. That only lasted a season, as when Mike Pettin, their head coach, got fired, he was along with them. They didn't retain him. And also in 2018, he was fired mid-season as the Vikings offensive coordinator. So this will be his third try at offensive coordinator. And really, the big responsibility he's going to have is really making sure our quarterbacks get up to speed. Now, I expect us to bring in a veteran quarterback in free agency and also to draft a rookie in the draft. So he's going to really have the responsibility of coaching the veteran and really getting the rookie up to speed to be able to be the Jaguars' future franchise quarterback. So, obviously he has a lot of experience. He's a big kind of passing coach. He's a guy that he likes to pass it. We'll just say that. I mean, that was one of the reasons why he was fired as the Vikings offense coordinator, was that Mike Zimmer felt that he was running the ball too much, and he pushed for the pass a little bit too much. So we'll see with Joe DeCamillis now. Or John DeFilippo. He's most known for really the job he did in 2017 as the Eagles quarterback coach with Carson Wentz, and then Nick Foles wound up leading them to a Super Bowl. So I think it's a good hire. I was getting a little bit worried about this spot just because a lot of time was going by and they were interviewing guys and they weren't accepting the job or whatever. Guys like Todd Monken and stuff like that. So, I was worried we were going to be left with kind of a bad offensive coordinator, a guy that wasn't, as highly touted, just because we don't really have much going on our offense when it comes to good personnel. So glad we got him. Now, some other new coaches that we got is a new running backs coach, Terry Robisky. He's a guy that replaced Tyrone Wheatley. And he was actually a former LSU running back, and he's going to have a tall task, and that's really just bringing Leonard Fournette getting his head on right. Now, our running back room last year was freaking broken, with Leonard Fournette being injured and just not being very mature. Apparently, TJ Yeldon was not a good influence in the running back room. Carlos Hyde was just a 5th-round trade disaster. It didn't seem like anything good was coming out of his camp. And really, besides that, Corey Grant got injured the 5th game of the year. You brought in like Dave Williams and Jamal Charles off the streets, and just the running back room, it was not good. And it wasn't good when it comes to both production and when it comes to just chemistry. So this Terry Robisky, hopefully he can really get into Leonard Fournette's head and make him a better player. So, yeah, that's the new position hire there. We have a new offensive line coach with George Warhop. I believe that's how you say his name. He's replacing Pat Flaherty. And, the offensive line has to be better. Now, Pat Flaherty, really last year, man, the offensive line was super injured. So, you lose the guy that you spent a lot of money on, your left guard, Andrew Norwell. Brandon Linder's constantly injured, and he wound up being on the IR. Cam Robinson, second game, the guy tears his ACL, so just wasn't a very good situation. So he's going to be the new guy there. And one interesting thing about the running back coach and the offensive line coach is both these guys were actually hired before we hired on John DeFilippo. And I was wondering myself, like, why are you hiring positional coaches before you're going to get an offense coordinator so they don't have any say on this? And the reason why kind of made sense when they asked Doug Marrone. He just basically said that, look, a lot of time was going by and you got to hire somebody or else everybody's going to wind up having jobs. So, they hired these guys up before they got snatched up by their team. So it does make sense. Now, we have a new defensive line coach. His name is Jason Rebovich or something like that. He was actually promoted from the assistant defensive line coach. He was the assistant defensive line coach on the Jaguars in 2017 and 2018, replacing Marion Hobby. So he's got a lot of talent to work with. Now, he's going to have to get Taven Bryan to perform at a higher level. We're probably going to be replacing one of these interior linemen with Malik Jackson, Darius, or Avery Jones. At least one of those guys are going to be cut, maybe even two for salary cap reasons. So he's going to have a task there. And then when it comes to the secondaries coach, we fired Perry Fewell, which was the secondaries coach, but now we have that split up into two jobs. We have cornerback coach Tim Walton, who was formerly on the New York Giants, and he's got one of the best units in the NFL when it comes to A.J. Boye, Jalen Ramsey, and then also you had nickel cornerback DJ Hayden. So he's got a good group of guys to work with. Now, on the other end, the safeties coach is now Joe Dana, who is actually promoted as the assistant defensive backs coach for the Jaguars. He is now being promoted to the head safeties coach. And the thing about this guy is, last year you had Barry Church and Tashawn Gibson both starting safeties. Barry Church has already been cut, and I honestly expect Tashawn Gibson to get cut too. So at strong safety, you're going to have Ronnie Harrison starting, and I believe Jared Wilson is going to be the starting free safety. So they're going to have to learn how to get production out of those positions. So that's going to be a pretty good task for Joe Dana. And then finally, actually last week, the Jaguars hired on a 68-year-old coach, Don Capers. He's going to serve as a senior defensive assistant, I guess helping out Doug Marrone, or not Doug Marrone, but Todd Wash. He was actually an unpaid consultant on the Jaguars last year. This guy has 31 seasons as an NFL coach. He's had 2 different head coaching gigs. He's served 16 seasons as a defensive coordinator in the NFL. And he actually was a defensive coordinator for the Jaguars in 1999 and 2000. And in 1999 was the year he posted a 14-2 record, so our best season in franchise history. So it'll be interesting to see what this guy does. I mean, I guess this guy's known for blitzing. I would only expect him to be on the staff for like 1 year. He's probably just sitting in here, just kind of waiting for another kind of big time coaching gig. I doubt he's a guy that would want to be a position coach. He's probably just a guy that it's either defense coordinator or bust for him. So he has a talented group to work with. So hopefully him and Todd Wash can bang out a pretty good new defensive scheme for the team. So that can be something that we can look forward to going forward. So yeah, that's kind of my recap of the new coaching staff for the Jaguars. Let me know what you guys think, especially at the offensive coordinator spot. It's probably that's definitely the most important spot for the Jaguars. It's a job that's very, very highly criticized, just because they call the plays. So you always are Monday morning quarterback, couch GM or couch quarterback, whatever you want to call it, when it comes to different play calls that you're going to do. So hopefully he can last more than the season as the offense coordinator. It's almost a lame duck kind of position, because if the Jaguars go 6-10, we're most likely cleaning house, getting rid of Doug Marrone, the GM, and everybody. So hopefully 2019 is a good year for the Jaguars. I'll be there cheering for the Jaguars. So yeah. But thank you guys for watching my video. Please subscribe, leave a like on the video if you can. This is UCF Jaguar with JinJag.com, and I'm out.